Okay, so what are you saying, people, and welcome back to your favorite YouTube channel. So today, guys, like always, another weekly analysis for you. On the screen are the pairs we'll be analyzing today, but make sure you do stay to the end of the video as I do have a bonus pair in store. But yeah, guys, no trades again for me this week. Nothing quite set up how I wanted it to. Looking for that extra high quality trade. Pound USD, Euro USD, I was looking at some shorts for them. They were looking okay, but they remain quite choppy. So I did decide to stay out of the market with those pairs. We did see a bit of downside, however, they are still kind of consolidating, as we can see with Euro USD, which again brings us onto our first pair. So for Euro USD, I was favoring some downside this week. I was talking about us correctly breaking through the swing high here on the left. A couple weeks ago, I said if we do have a strong break of this high impulsively, I will look for continuations higher, but we didn't do that. The breakout was very corrective. So last week I did say I'm favoring some downside for Euro USD, coming back to retest that resistance. We did see, however, we haven't really seen a continuation of that. We spilled over Tuesday, Wednesday, and since then we've kind of remained in some consolidation. So for Euro USD, I'm kind of 50-50. However, I'm favoring some higher time frame buys in the move higher, but I do want to see a strong break outside of the consolidation. If we can get a break of structure past this point, that would be fantastic as well, but not essential. But a breakout is definitely essential, because as long as we remain in that, like I said this week, I will be remaining out of Euro USD. So I do want to see a strong break higher. It would be nice if we can take out this high there as well, and simply looking at some pullbacks, retest the high and continuations, because Euro USD is at a place of significance where we could reverse. If I go to the daily chart, we have come back into a significant swing low. This is the low that gave us this move to the high. Market has rejected it a couple of times. Possibly could send us higher. It possibly could send us higher, but I need a bit more development on the lower time frames for me to then start looking to long the pair. So as I said, with Euro USD, looks like we are hanging on to this level, turn support, at the same time struggling at resistance. So let's see if price can break higher, give us a continuation, and then of course looking for the pullback and then the next wave higher. Of course, we could still sell off to the downside as well. There could be some shorts to the downside. I'm not as keen on the shorts, but possibly there could be opportunity if we do break lower there on some pullbacks. I'm more invested in the buys here. So I do want to see a strong break higher for Euro, pullbacks into this area, and that's when I'll start looking for my longs around 1.0863. And there is a lot of room to the upside for this one. Of course, multiple places where you can target. High there, that's the high, that's the high. And of course, a swing high there as well. So there is a lot of mileage in this one potentially, but that will be the setup. I'll keep my eyes out for Euro USD. Okay, so over to dollar yen. So dollar yen, again, nothing's really changed with this one in terms of the analysis. Still looking for more upside. Back to 151.796, which is the daily swing high, daily weekly swing high. There, I do think there's still a good probability we'll get up there. However, prices still has been consolidating. So the analysis I said coming into the week pretty much is still valid. I'm still waiting to see if we can break high on a retest of that area, or have a deeper pullback, retest this significant swing point here around 148.688. Again, strong break of that structure, never came back for a retest. So potentially price wants to come back, retest that area, and then be on its way. So those are the two opportunities I'll keep an eye out for dollar yen. Again, still bullish on this one. Long term, yes, dollar yen does have a lot of room to the downside, but I'm expecting price to take out the liquidity above that high first before we do eventually see a bigger move down. So as long as we remain bullish in terms of the structure and we don't see any major reversals on the lower time frames, I'm still looking for buying opportunities for dollar yen. And yeah, the analysis is pretty much still the same as it was last week, keeping an eye out on this level here, and of course a retest of the high, which is around 158.52 and also 148.730. So still very bullish on dollar yen. I am slightly bearish going into next week on dollar, the currency itself. So there's a bit of a contradiction there, but of course, I'm focusing purely on the price action. Potentially could see some weakness for dollar to take us down before we see some strength. So things can change very quickly, but this is the opportunity I'll be focused on for dollar yen next week. Okay, so over to dollar CAD. So dollar CAD, I must say I'm not a big fan of the price action with this one's getting quite choppy, quite corrected now. It already was quite choppy and corrected before, but we had a nice tidy consolidation here, and I've been saying if we can get a strong break to the downside for dollar CAD, I'll be looking at some sales back down to the lows, and that's pretty much been the bias for a while. I have pointed out a big level here on the daily chart, big resistance here around 1.365, which potentially price could be looking to go and test before seeing some downside. You can see previously it acting as a very, very strong resistance over here, there as well, and some strong support there too. So it definitely is an area which price may be attracted towards, and we're not too far away, so the chance of us getting there could be pretty high before seeing a big move down. But again, I'm not looking to try and call the top in this move here for dollar CAD, and the fact that we're in a larger area of consolidation isn't really a good thing either. So it's not like we've got a big trend we're playing with. It's a big range, and I definitely don't want to be trying calling anything really in the range. I want to see some trending behavior, hence why I wanted the price to break down first, and then I was going to look for some pullbacks. But of course that never happened. So there might be some short-term long opportunities because we have broken outside of this resistance now, which for me was the top of the range. I was looking at these two moves here as fake outs. So now that we are firmly above the high of the range, we could use this as support for one more move higher to go and test that daily level, then potentially could get a bigger sell-off to the downside. So there could be some shorter term longs, but truthfully more interested in the shorts. For me, I'll be waiting for a lot of development before I short dollar CAD. And what I mean by that is if we do go up there, I want to see rejection, I want to see lower lows and lower highs coming back in, and then I'll be interested in the short. I'm not looking to try and call a top on this. It doesn't really go with my strategy, with my edge. So yeah, with dollar CAD, keep an eye on 1.365, strong level in the higher time frame, good place to start looking for some selling opportunities. As I said, I'll be waiting for price to develop, give me some bearish structure first before I even think about selling. But I'm still bearish bias. I'm still looking at this as a very large bearish impulse. This is our correction. If I do get a Fibonacci out from the high to the low, yeah, we've got the 0.5, 0.618, more or less in that area. This is a good place where we could see the market reverse. So expecting some downside for dollar CAD. Keep an eye on the high time frame level resistance, but I need to see a lot of development first before I do short. So that will be the plan next week for dollar CAD. Okay, so over to euro pound. So euro pound, the bias and the analysis hasn't really changed since the past couple of weeks now. I've been pointing out a big level of resistance here, and I've been expecting to see a move higher. I do think longer term we're coming right back down and kind of continuing with these lower highs, one over there, second, and I'm expecting a third, potentially coming back into these areas here. So that is the plan for myself for euro pound. However, it's just a very ranging market, so it's definitely not at the top of my watch list to be looking for opportunities. However, if you are looking to trade euro pound, we are coming off a pretty big level, as we can see previously here. Big move up, fairly big move up there as well. You know, there is some potential for some upside. However, we have been consolidating for a while, and I've been looking to see if we can get a break of the high of the consolidation, which would be this resistance here. And of course, above that, if we can get some pullbacks, retest, that would be a great place to look to long. Really solid level. Price has been firmly rejecting that area a few times. If we can see a sharp break of that, you know, there's a good chance it will be used as support for the market to then move higher. Sort of like an inverse head and shoulder set up here. Maybe a bit of a reach, but it's the same kind of opportunity. Bearish structure, market reversing, now expecting bullish structure if we break for the neckline, which of course would be that resistance. So yeah, euro pound buys do look okay. I do like the opportunity. Higher time frames make sense as well. It's just the conditions aren't great, and I want to be seeing trending conditions before I look for opportunities. So yeah, not a big fan of euro pound, but a solid break of that resistance could provide some nice buy opportunities later in the week. So keep an eye out for that for euro pound, but expecting some more upside next week. Okay, so over to Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar, I had a similar bias, similar take on this one as with euro and pound USD, which was, again, we did have a break of structure with this one. We had some lower lows and lower highs. Market did break structure, but we did it very correctively, so I wasn't interested in the buys anymore. Normally when I do see a nice sharp break of structure, I'm looking for pullbacks and continuation. Didn't see that. Market was very, very corrective. So coming into this week, I did say there's a good chance we'll probably spill over to the downside, because typically this price action isn't very sustainable. And we do see this ascending nature. We do expect the market to eventually reverse, which we did see. However, I did say last week as well, I'm not looking to short it, even though we do have this corrective price action because of where we're located on the daily chart. Big level here where potentially could be seeing the next higher low for a move up. We are looking at a very big head and shoulder pattern, or inverse head and shoulder pattern, and we're at a place where we could be forming that right shoulder. So and even just in general, it's just not a good place for me to short. Already had a really nice move down, it's coming back into a big level. You know, a lot of higher time frame buys will be sitting here. So I do like the buys if we can start forming some healthy bullish structure, which would now be a strong break of this high and then some pullbacks and some longs. That would be something I'll be after. Euro USD looks a lot simpler. We had a nice tidy consolidation there. So now waiting for a sharp breaker down the retest. Aussie dollar, we've got a pretty big move. We're asking for it to happen, for it to do, for us to then look for pullbacks and longs. But again, I'm not going to jump into the market straight away. It's a little bit corrective now. This is arguably consolidation for Aussie dollar. I know there's a slight downtrend there, but really, you know, we're failing to make lower lows again. We're breaking structure here and there. It's very corrective, not seeing much momentum either. So conditions aren't great, which is a sign that potentially the market is getting ready to reverse. The bearish trend we've had coming into the year has definitely lost some of its bite. So potentially we could be going for a reversal. Strong break of the high will show that to us. And then of course pullbacks and then some long opportunities will look very, very good. So looking at a retest of 0.65860. But yeah, first we need to see a strong break higher. Of course, you can look to buy down at the level as well. The only risk is that, again, we're not bullish yet. The market could still break the level and go lower. Just because it's a big level of support doesn't necessarily mean we'll have to hold it and we have to reverse. So that's why I'm waiting for price to break structure, show me that there's, you know, a bullish structure to trade, and then I'll be looking for my long. So that'll be planned next week for Aussie dollar. Okay, so over to NZD CAD. So I was looking for buys for this one, and it did come into my entry level, but the price action wasn't great, and I'll touch on why. But essentially for NZD CAD, we've had a really big up move. The market's held this level as prior resistance turned support. Then we had a big break to the upside, and simply I was looking to see if we can get continuation of that move. We had a big consolidation here on the left, and I was simply looking for price to come back, retest that consolidation, and then of course use that as a higher low for continuations higher. However, we did see a very sharp pullback this week. We had some NZD news, and that came out very, very bearish for it. Big strong move to the downside. I was waiting for some long opportunities, but you can see the price action, which is very, very corrective. And again, candlestick patterns is how I enter the market, but you want to use that in context with the market as well. You know, if you're seeing large momentum like this, you want to see a fairly large shift in momentum back to the buyers to show that, okay, sellers have faded out, buyers are back in town. But we saw very corrected price action, which is never really a good sign. We want to see convincing candles closing in our favor, especially when we got all this momentum here, because again, we're pretty much trying to reverse this big move here. So you want to see some strong evidence that the buyers are holding. Didn't see that happen. Now the market has been quite corrective since then. So with NZD CAD, although I would still keep an eye out for some buys just in case we come back above, it's just not really convincing price action. And in actual fact, we're actually holding this as resistance at this moment in time and could sell off to the downside as well. It does look like price may just be back inside that consolidation and ready to see a move down. So with NZD CAD, price action is not looking great. I still do like the buys. Excuse me, I still do like the buys, but I do want to see price getting back above that level. Excuse me, my voice started playing up there. Yeah, price get back above that level, and then I'll be looking to buy. But I must say that the price action isn't looking great. The fact that we're just throwing wicks everywhere, moving sideways, yes, the momentum has depleted, but it's not a really good sign for the buyers just yet, the fact that we're doing it underneath that level. So we'll keep an eye out on a break back above 0.828 for some buys, but it does look like we may just see price sell off back into that same level there. So that's the plan next week I have for NZD CAD. Okay, so on to pound NZD. So for this pair, I was looking for some shorts this week. We had a really big move to the upside, of course, with the NZD news. Originally was looking for some sells from roughly this area. We had some nice confluence there coming into the 0.618 of the Fibonacci. So was looking for some shorts, but as you can see, price just completely catapulted past that area, no real entry signal. And then price is trading at that swing high over there around 2.08. So the bias is still bearish from a full H perspective. The market's still forming at lower lows and lower highs. However, I'm no longer expecting price to continue as far down as I was originally expecting. Looking at the higher time frames, I was talking about price coming to this area, and then if we can break past that, back into this swing low. Based on how price is moving and based on how corrective it is and the strength in the bullish move we just had, I'm no longer expecting price to go that far. We have come back into a nice area for some shorts. Already seen a nice rejection. If we come back up there again, that would be a nice place to short, but I would be a bit more conservative of how far I'm expecting the trade to go. This is a really strong area which could be used as a take profit or to manage your trades. Of course, we could go a lot further. I do not know, with complete certainty where the market's going to go, but based on the structure we're having, it's quite sluggish, quite corrective. I was expecting the market to continue this momentum and really starting to pull away now. The fact that we're still quite corrective means that we're no longer really seeing the bears take control and the buyers are still very firmly present. So as long as we can remain under this low here and respect that structure, I'm still deeming this to be bearish. I'm looking for shorts. If we do go and break through that, then yeah, I'll put a pin in that bearish bias. But for now, still holding onto a nice level of resistance. If we can hold that, some shorts back to 2.06 look good for next week. And maybe if we're lucky, price may continue a little bit further, but shorts into that level look good, and you could still be looking at a pretty healthy risk reward as well. So keep an eye on some shorts for pound NZD back around 2.08017, and then move back down to 2.06 will be the plan for next week. Okay guys, so on to CAD yen. So CAD yen still bullish bias. We haven't really broken through any major structure. I know we have taken out some of these lows, but that was kind of expected for price to come back and retest this area, which was the plan for this week. I did say I'm not the biggest fan of CAD yen because we have taken out major swing highs. And typically after we do take out major swing highs, we do normally see bigger retracements. So I'm kind of expecting something like this to happen longer term. But nonetheless, this is still a pretty strong level which price has come into. And if we are going to continue bullish, because again, we don't have to necessarily retrace on the higher time frames just yet. We could still push another 200 pips before that retracement does come. This is still not a bad level to long from. Personally, what I'm waiting for is for a bigger shift in structure from the bears, some lower lows, lower highs, to then short some counter trend opportunities, then potentially some longs later on the way back up if the trend does continue. But yeah, I'm not very keen on the long just because of the location. But in terms of the level coming back to retest, we already had a really nice significant reaction during the week. As you can see, solid level, price broke through with great momentum, never had the retest. Finally, we got the retest, and if you're looking to get involved with CAD yen, could be looking for a double bottom there for some longs next week and potentially some targets back at the swing high. If we do crack through this area pretty significantly, then I wouldn't start looking to short, but I'll probably start backing away because again, this is still the major swing low. We could still just have a deeper retracement before going bullish. But that is a strong sign that, okay, the buyers are starting to weaken. Maybe we might start printing some low lows and the highs to short. Of course, I'll keep up to date with price action as the week continues. And maybe there might be some shorts. But for now, sticking with that bullish bias, let's see what we can do at 110,400. And if we do see another strong reaction, probably got some nice swings back to the high, around 111,760. So that remains the plan for CAD yen going into next week. Okay, so over to pound USD. So as you can see, I have drawn a box around price action here on the daily chart. I'm kind of just boxing off pound USD as just consolidation altogether. I was looking for some shorts this week along with Euro USD. But as you can see, it's just been very, very choppy. It looks like price is now holding onto some support here. Which we previously held, then didn't quite hold it so much. Now looks like we're holding that area again, and altogether the market is just not moving particularly great. We had a lot of momentum in this bearish move, and I was looking for continuations of that. But since we've had this kind of extended correction, we did come into a nice area, but then we kind of chopped around throughout most of the week until kind of even moving down correctly. So price action hasn't been good. And again, I'm just kind of making things a lot simpler for myself because again, I'm looking for quality in the market here, not trying to force anything. Pound USD, if I'm going to take some shorts here, I probably am forcing a little bit just because the conditions aren't great. So I'll be focusing my attention on other pairs next week. So if you do want to see my watch list going into next week, make sure you do check out my Telegram, links in the description to that. But yeah, pound USD won't make the cut next week for myself. I need this one to show me some momentum again. Technically, I'm still bearish because of the structure. We've gone from making higher highs and higher lows to now making lower lows and lower highs. So I still do think we've got a good chance to break down. But again, the conditions aren't great. And I'm not really liking how price is moving. And as I said, we're now back above this area. So there's a chance for a deeper pullback there as well. So yeah, pound USD is not great. Euro USD, I still do have some hopes for, if you can see what I was talking about at the start of the video about pound USD. I must say I don't really like the price action at all. If I'm going to look to trade this one again, I need to see some continuation breaking below, taking out that swing low, and then I'll probably look for the next pullback after, because at that point we're probably seeing some momentum again. The bearish structure is a bit more developed. We're actually probably trending at this point, and of course that looks like a very significant level for a retest. So something like that would interest me for pound USD. But of course, we've still got a long way to go before we get something of this setup, because that would be a big move to the downside. But yeah, pound USD price action is great. As you can see, I'm boxed now as consolidation. I'm not really trying to predict the fluctuations inside consolidation. Not really worth my time. But if we can break out, things get interesting. We'll keep an eye on the break and retest of 1.254. And then shorts, I'll be looking at some of these swing points here as targets. But let's see if we can get the breakout first. But that will be the plan next week. Okay, so coming to pound CAD. So pound CAD, I'm still not in love with the pair. I'm not really looking to trade it for next week. But if you are looking at pound CAD, I am anticipating more upside for this one. I have been quite conflicted with my buys for a while, as we've been making lower highs here and high lows at the same time. So kind of just following this consolidation type pattern. It's not textbook, but you know, we expect price to eventually break out either to the upside or to the downside. But I am expecting price to break higher. We do have a very slight uptrend on our hands here. I do think the market is likely to go and take out the highs at that area, especially after the move to the upside we had this week. So dropping to the 4H, we have left behind a nice level of resistance turn support here. If we can hold that area, form the next higher low, this looks like a nice place to get into some longs and targets back at the high there. And potentially we could go further if we are going to see a big breakout. You could expect price to come back into the swing high, but that will be, of course, how far you want to push the trade. This is also a significant level, which banking some partials or managing a trade would be fairly sensible. But yeah, for pound CAD, I am expecting upside. It does look like pound CAD, Euro CAD might be slowly looking to turn to the upside. Conditions still aren't great. I still don't really view this as a really high probable opportunity, hence why I'm not really looking to trade it, but I can definitely make sense of what price is doing, and I would favor some more upside. So keep an eye on the retest of 1.711. Targets back to the swing high makes a lot of sense. There is some room to the upside as well if you're looking to push the trade a little bit further. But yeah, that will be the plan for next week for pound CAD. Okay, so over to pound yen. So still bullish for this one. If I do drop to the higher time frames, you can see overall the trend is still up. Market's still making higher highs and higher lows. Again, I'm not a big fan of the location of where we are for pound yen, as I've discussed many times on my streams. After we do take out significant highs, the market does tend to have that retracement. And now we've taken out significant highs again. I'm expecting eventually a retracement to the downside. So even though the trend's up multiple time frames, still seeing higher highs and higher lows, 4H as well, I'm not so keen on taking some buys at these areas. And I'm actually waiting to see if we will get a retracement on the higher time frames. But first, I do need to see price breaking structure to the downside. This is our last significant low on the 4H time frame. If we can break through that, some lower highs, and I'll be expecting the market to head lower. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for. But at the moment, the market is still bullish. And if you are looking to follow that momentum, follow that trend, that again still makes perfect sense. Pretty much every Major time frames still pointing up for pound yen, daily, weekly, monthly. We're still seeing a lot of momentum to the upside, of course. Many people will be anticipating some reversals for the yen pairs, but again, you know, as you can see with the trend, the market keeps fighting higher and higher and higher. So there are definitely buying opportunities. And if you keep thinking sell, 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 you'll miss out on those buying opportunities as well. So if you are looking for the sells, like myself, you know, wait for the market to actually break structure first, and then we can start looking for some counter trend opportunities. But for now, the buys are still in control. So I'll be keeping an eye on this area around 188.699. Could be some nice upside back to the high. I personally do prefer dollar yen and euro yen out the yen pair, so I'll probably leave pound yen alone, but I do think we'll probably see another move higher if we can hold this level here. So keep an eye out on 188.699, basically the retest of this major high here on the daily chart. I do think there's some room to the upside if we do see a bounce. So that will be the plan next week for pound yen. Okay, so over to gold. So gold is looking fairly exciting. Big move to the upside, big breakout. This is what essentially I've been calling for Bitcoin, a breakout out of this mess. Again, I have been 50-50 with the direction, either up or down. I haven't really been too interested really, because whilst price is in the consolidation, I'm not really thinking about what price is going to do next. I'm kind of just waiting for the breakout. And as we can see with hindsight, price has broken high. So this leaves us a really nice opportunity in the retest of this high here, especially with the really confident candle closure there on the full H, followed by the daily and the weekly as well. Really nice candle closures on the higher time frames. Some pullbacks look really good, and a retest of that area around 2064, 2063 makes a whole lot of sense to me for some longs. Now we still kind of are trading in that higher time frame area of resistance, so there is a chance that we might only see a slight continuation. The market could roll over, but based on that candle closure, and if we do see a breakout, some resistance here, there's a lot of room to the upside for gold back to 2148. Those are the prior all-time highs. So if we do see price really continue from now, it could be a really big trade if you're looking for the home run back to the highs. But I would say keep a close eye on this area. This is kind of like the last line of defense for gold bears. If you do see a significant break of this area, I would expect this wick here to fill eventually. But yeah, gold, keep an eye on the retest of this area, and let's see if we can get some more upside next week. Okay, so over to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin had an electric week this week. Big move to the upside, topping up around 64K. I think we just spiked into 64. So yeah, I did say once price breaks through this area, I think it will be, oh, did not mean to do that. I think when price breaks through this area, it'll be only a matter of time before we do hit the highs. I do actually expect us to take out the high as well. But yeah, for Bitcoin, the only logical thing here, I know people will be looking for some selling opportunities close to the all-time highs, and I can understand it. It's a big level of in the market, a lot of people paying attention, potentially a lot of profit taking at the highs there. But again, as a trend trader, person looking to follow momentum, you know, my instincts as a trader is always looking for pullbacks and a continuation, especially in these conditions for Bitcoin. So I would not be looking for sales, and if Bitcoin is kind enough to pull back to some of these areas, I was talking about this area last week, we didn't even see a pullback to that level, which is crazy, because I was actually expecting a deeper pullback since we had such a big move. But I said last week, because of the current conditions, we may just see a slight pullback, retest that area, and be on our way. But we just had a brief consolidation and price just flew anyway. So I'll be looking at some pullbacks for Bitcoin. The only logical places would be these areas here. If we were to see, I don't know, a lot of profit taking, big spike down, this is a very nice place to consider for some longs. Even the area just below, both we haven't had a retest of, so they both look equally as good. And I will mark out the swing high here, because I do expect highs to be taken out for Bitcoin soon enough, so that's where I'll be targeting. But yeah, Bitcoin for me looks like a really good long opportunity. If we see some pullbacks, we may just fly, you know, this time this week. We already could be talking about new all-time highs with Bitcoin, so hopefully we get some pullbacks, but that will be the plan going into next week. And last but not least, we've got our bonus pair, which is Aodu CAD for this week. I'm looking at some sales for this one. I've been keeping a close eye on Aussie CAD's been quite corrective. However, I do like how things are setting up for next week. If we do see a move up higher back into 0.8830, if we can get a retest of that area, significant reaction, I will be looking for some sells for a move back to the swing low. Again, high time frames are still pretty bearish for me on Aodu CAD. We're still seeing lower lows and lower highs. Even that, if I zoom out to the bigger picture, you can all see prices moving lower, and there's a good chance we can retest this area here at 0.86 as well. So there is a lot of room to the downside for Aussie CAD, potentially a push to the lows there, but I think for the opportunity I'm after, I'll be keen for a move into that area. Maybe I might leave some positions to run, but yeah, Aussie CAD still looks like a good sell to me. We're also coming back to retest this area here as well, a very significant low, big move to the upside. Market has retested that. I'm looking to see if we can come back, retest both areas simultaneously, and then I'll be looking for my entries for a move lower, simply looking to continue the trend. And again, most of my positions are like that in the market. I'm looking at the bigger picture, the bigger trend of things. I'm using the lower time frames, 4H hourly, to take part of that in a bit more detail so I can maximize my risk to rewards, smaller stop loss. And if I'm right, I can look after a really nice risk to reward of my trades. So that's the plan for Aussie CAD. We'll be looking to see if we can get a retest of that area. And again, you can see from how price is moving, we had a nice reaction once, and now we're very, very corrective. Isn't really giving so much confidence that would just suddenly spill over to the downside. It does look like the market's got one more move up in it, and that could be the move we need to find some entries. And then if we see some nice rejection, we'll be looking to take that to the downside. Targets around 0.87300. So that will be the plan next week for Aussie CAD, looking to follow that higher time frame direction. Significant area, got some good confidence there in the higher time frames too. Let's see if we can get some nice entry signals at that area. So that's the plan next week for Aussie CAD, and that does bring us to the end of the analysis. If you have found it useful, enjoyed it, informative, educational, please be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit the bell as well so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Check out my Telegram channel, link to that in the description. As I said, I'll be posting my watch list there every week, so if you do want to see my watch list for the next week, make sure you go and check that out. But besides that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you all in the next one.